Hi everybody, I want to explain to you an assignment that you're going to do in order to learn how to use Adobe InDesign. Now InDesign is a page layout program that's used to lay out pages. It can be done in a small scale, as small as a business card. It can also be an entire book. It's a very powerful program. Now this program is kind of a combination of things. It can do word processing, so to speak, and it can also bring graphics in and do some modifying, but it's sort of a place where all of the graphics and the words and the text all come together into a page. So your first assignment is on this page, and it's called InDesignPractice assignment, and you can see an example of how it's started and laid out. Here's the key with InDesign. Everything has to have a frame in order for you to put things on the page. So here's the finished example. You can see that there's a picture frame, there's a frame for the heading, there's a frame for each of these columns. So everything that goes into this page has to have a frame. So those little miniature examples are there. Now this page is going to end up being a half page size, which is 5.5 by 8.5. It's called letter half. It'll be this size. The instructions are laid out right here for you, and let's go ahead and step through this on the screen. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is to do is launch InDesign. Now before you get started on any page, check the preferences under InDesign and Preferences and go to Units and Increments. Make sure the horizontal and vertical units are in inches in this assignment. So just change those to make them inches so they're not points and picas. And then you're going to create a new page, new document under File. Now this document, as I mentioned, is going to be letter half. You could type it in as 5.5 by 8.5 tall, or you could choose that as a default letter half. Now make sure it is in a portrait orientation. Now the other specification, if you look at the instructions on number 2, is to make sure that it has half-inch margins. And you notice here, if they're not at a half-inch, if I were, say, to be at 0.75, I would want to change those to 0.5, hit Tab, so you can see that they all change together unless I unlock this. Another thing we need is 2 columns. Now the amount of space between the columns is determined by the gutter, and we'll just leave the default there. So really the settings are 5.5 by 8.5, letter half, 2 columns, half-inch margins. Let's start. So there's my page. You can see the columns and the gutter in between, the margins around the outside. The next thing you're going to do is make a frame for your photo. We're on step 3. Now here's how you make photo frames or graphic image frames. On the left side in your toolbox you'll see some shapes with X's through them. Now you could actually make an image or a box that's elliptical or polygon. I'm just going to go with a plain rectangle. Now the photo that I took in Photo Booth is going to be in this orientation, but I think I'll go wide and crop some of it out. Now where you put your photo is up to you. I'm just placing these things right now. I'm going to be moving them around, putting them in different places, but for now I'll just make the frame. The heading frame, or the header, which has my name and period number, is going to be text, so I need to take the type tool. Now if you're used to using Illustrator, you can just click in Illustrator. Well, that doesn't work in InDesign. What I have to do in InDesign is make a frame. Remember, everything has a frame. Now it doesn't have to be the exact right size. We'll fix that later if it's wrong. Another thing we need is columns of text, so I need a column here, and we'll put a column here. And this is just to begin with. It gives you a concept of what it's going to look like. Alright, now in order to work with InDesign, you have to select the frames that you're going to be working with. Now I'm going to start out with a photo, and I'm going to place my photo in there. So if I go to File and Place, I can go to the Home, to the Pictures, and I took a picture using Photo Booth, and I'm not sure exactly what's all on here. Some old pictures of me. We'll go with that one because I look happy. So that's the photo I want. I'm going to push Open, and there it is. Now you notice that you just see the background of the photo. The photo is actually quite large compared to the frame, so I have to fit that up at the top. Now there's different ways that you can fit these, several different options. The one that the ones that you normally want to use would be the proportional ones: fill frame proportionally and fit frame proportionally. So I'm going to go with, well, let's try fit frame proportionally. Okay, that fits the entire picture. I have some leftover space because my frame was not the same proportions as the picture. Let's try the other one, fill frame proportionally. That would fill the entire frame and then just leave any extra hanging off. Now you can adjust this and crop this several ways. One way is to take the white arrow, which is the direct select. Now I can select the picture and you can see the entire picture and how it is cropped and how it spills out over the photo. Another thing you could do is to crop this, take the black arrow and you can actually size the frame down. Notice that when you change the frame, it does not change the content or the picture itself. It's to work with the content, you need the white arrow. Okay, now if I did want to change the size of that photo, I could take the white arrow and change the size. Now one thing you want to avoid is distorting. So if you want to custom fit that, you can hold down Shift while you're resizing. Use the hand. This is all done with the white arrow to work with the content and position it the way that you want within the frame. Okay. Now I actually do want the frame to go all the way to the edges of the column, so let's go ahead and bring that back, and that looks pretty good. Now you're also going to be doing some typing in these other frames, so I need the type tool to do that. I'm going to be putting my name, and I'm just following the directions, and the period number, and I'll just put 1A, whoops, 1A. And then I can customize that later and center it and change my name to bigger, different font and things like that. In fact, I'll do that right now. Let's take my name, and up here along the top control palette, I can choose different fonts. Let's choose one that looks kind of interesting. We'll go with this Rosewood regular. Now I'd like that to be bigger. Here's my type size. I can either go up or down 1 point at a time, or I can type in exactly what I think I need. I'm going to try 36. That looks pretty good. Period 1A, it's, I guess I'll leave that at that style, that font right now, but you can use your judgment on designing this the way you want. Another thing I'd like to do is center this. Now don't ever use tabs or spaces to move type around to center and to align. That's what the alignment tools are for. Up here at the top you have align left, align center, align right, and then some other ones that we'll get into another time, but I'd like to align this particular part centered. Okay. Now it still needs a little bit of work. We'll be working on that a little bit later. I just want to give you the basics. Now the other things I want you to do in these columns is to type a couple of short stories. Now you can make this real, you can make it made up. The point is we want to get some text in here. What I'm going to do is type a story about, in column 1, about my favorite things. And you can see on your paper, on the booklet, it says on step 4, make separate frames, make a header, and column 1 is my favorite things. Now I'm going to use the type tool, of course, to do that. The title is my favorite things, and then I can continue to just type a story. My favorite things in life are, okay, and I can just kind of make this up, and because my typing skills are so fantastic, as you can see, I'm just typing in gibberish right now, and you can see that eventually you'll really type a real story. I do want to find out what you want to do with that. Now you can fill this column up with some things and then make some adjustments. Now I'm going to adjust this. This is a headline for the column, so that should be bigger, and I'll let you choose some fonts and things that you want. I can also select the type and make some adjustments on the type size. If I need more room, I can make the type smaller. If I need to fill it more, I can make it bigger. Don't just type a few lines and then just enlarge it. That it should be something around 12 point, give or take. But don't make it huge and don't make it too small where you can't read it. The other column I want to do on the right side, according to the instructions, is to do a story on the most amazing thing. Now, the most amazing thing, you can fill in the blank. It could be the most amazing thing that I've ever seen, the most amazing thing that I've ever done, the most amazing thing I've ever heard of. You fill in the blank and make it a story about what you want. And you continue to type the heading and the story that goes with that. Now this has a lot of work to do. I could change this heading a little bit, maybe make my name a little bigger, the period number bigger. I could decide, well, maybe I want to put my picture over here. Whoops. Okay, now if you use the wrong arrow, I made a mistake. I'm going to do Command Z to undo. The white arrow is to move the content. I moved the content right out of the frame is what I did. So I want the black arrow to select and move the entire frame. So if I decide I want to move things around, I can very easily do that and modify and work with the frames, resizing the text frames and so on. Now if you want to see what this looks like without all of these guidelines that tend to interfere with your vision of what this looks like, it's very easy to do. In InDesign you can simply type W on the keyboard and that puts it in preview mode. If you want the lines back, you hit W again. So it toggles back and forth just by hitting W, no other key, and it'll do that. So you can see what it looks like. Now when you're done with this, this has a lot of work to do. Obviously you're going to save it into your network file. Okay, that's something you know how to do. Now when you save this, save it as something that makes sense. Untitled 1 is not a very good title. You want to call it something like My Story, or the name of the assignment is InDesignPractice. And I like to do things without spaces. It just makes it fit a little bit better when you have long titles. So InDesignPractice, you would save that in your network file, which I'm not set up to do right now, but you know how to do that. So I'm going to cancel this because I'm not going to save it right there. Now you're also going to print this. This is something that's not on the instructions. So follow this carefully. Take some notes while you're watching this right now. To print this, you're going to go to File and Print. This is after saving. Oh, you know what else we should do is always spell check before you finalize something. If you go to Edit, check spelling, right here, spelling, check spelling, which is Command I on the keyboard shortcut, and you can check the entire, search the entire document. Make sure it's on that, and then Start. And obviously we have some things we could skip, because that's not, 1A is not in the dictionary, but that's correct. But this is all gibberish, so it's going to catch all of that, and you want to be able to check all the spelling. So here we go with printing. Now after you check the spelling and correct things, save it again, and then also go to print this. I want to show you how to set this up. Now this page is a half letter size. Fitting on a letter size page, it would look like that. I'd like to do a couple of things here. But before I do, I want to choose the printer before I forget. The printer we're going to use is just the black and white HP 5200, and we'll print that on the black and white printer, excuse me. Under Setup, we can move the page to the center of the printer page, and then under Marks and Bleed, we want to turn on Crop Marks. Crop marks will show the edges of the page. You'll see that when it prints out. You won't see these blue lines. You won't see the edge of the page. You'll just see these little tick marks that show you how it gets trimmed down. So that's how you print it. That's not in the instructions, so make sure that you get that. You change the printer, HP 5200, go to Setup and center it. Under Marks and Bleed, turn on Crop Marks and print. So you'll have two versions of this. You'll have the saved version in your file, and it'll have the printed version, and I'll tell you which one later that I'm going to grade. I'll probably grade the printed version on this one. So anyway, that's how to do the InDesign practice. We're going to use InDesign for several things in this class. This is sort of a way to introduce you to InDesign, how to set up frames. Remember that it's all about making frames. That's how you put images and text into InDesign. Everything needs a frame. So hopefully that's a good experience for you. You'll have some fun with this, writing some stories. You can make up, some things or make it real. Should be interesting to see what you come up with. So good luck, and when you're done with this, I'll be grading it when you're done. So go ahead and get started. If you need to watch this video again to review some of the process, go ahead and do that. Anyway, good luck. Take care.